This program is brought to you by Oliveri and Schwartz, PC, personal injury and medical malpractice attorneys, with offices located throughout the New York metro area, including Garden City. More information about the legal services they offer is available by calling toll-free at 800-427-9546 or online at oliveriandschwartz.com. While other radio stations come and go,
we're here to stay.
For 45 years and counting.
FM,
HD,
Amazon Echo,
Google Home,
the TuneIn Radio app,
the iHeartRadio app,
and nccradio.org.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HD, Garden City.
On the air, everywhere.
Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box, part of the WHPC Sports Talk family. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., but Sports Talk also is on Mondays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., Tuesdays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., Thursdays, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Fridays, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., right here on 90.3 WHPC. If you'd like to call in with a comment or question, give us a call, 516-572-7440. I am Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is my brother and award-winning sports writer, Tim Leonard. Welcome back, brother. How are you doing?
How you doing?
And we talk sports every Monday about this time. That's a cool thing. And where should we start, brother? There's so many things to talk about. I want to talk about the Islanders, but I think I'll save it since it was Saturday's game and not Sunday's game. But you know
we
what?
got to go baseball, brother.
I think you're right. I think
we have to go baseball because the Mets are on the verge.
Hasn't happened.
In fact, you might want to check. You might want to check some of the local websites and see if it's actually happened, because apparently the deal has already been agreed to. It's just a matter of actually announcing it.
Well, don't they have to do the thing where they do?
They're doing physicals.
Physicals.
Robinson Cano. For anybody who hasn't heard, I can't believe there's anybody who hasn't heard. Robinson Cano, the former Yankee second baseman, is going to be on his way to the Mets, along with relief pitcher, closer Edwin Diaz, who he is the main guy in the deal. And he is unquestionably one of the best closers in baseball. There's no denying that.
And God knows the Mets needed one last year.
The Mets needed an entire bullpen. They needed a closer as well, but they need so much more help in the bullpen than one guy.
57 saves last year would have been more than enough in some of the games.
I don't know if the Mets had 57 games to save.
Well, DeGrom is a good place to start.
True.
You know, how many times did DeGrom lose a game because, I pitch a perfect game or a great game, and, look, the bullpen's coming in and no one gives a damn.
Well, I'm sure Jacob DeGrom will be the Met who is most pleased with this trade, even though there are a lot of people who aren't very happy with it.
Right. So that works out for me. I'm not sure I'm upset by this trade as I was last week.
You know, there's two ways of looking at this trade, and I can see both of them. I understand that the new general manager, Brodie Van Wagenen, wants to make a splash. And that's fine. I don't have any problems with that. But the Mets, as an organization, don't have many prospects. And they're giving away two of their best prospects, including a kid from Freeport, which is disappointing.
Okay, well.
But if you look at what they're getting, a reliable closer who's only 24 years old, who has 3 years, I think it is, of control remaining. So this is a guy.
We're talking about Diaz, right?
Diaz, yes, okay. Who he is going to be the Mets closer for a long time, and that's a good thing. So that now you have a guy you can build a bullpen around.
Yes, definitely.
Cano, I don't like the idea of taking on that contract. The Mariners, from what I've seen, are only going to kick in $20 million. You are paying $120 million over the next 5 seasons for Robinson Cano's age 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 seasons. That contract is already close to being an albatross. Talk to me in a year or two,
right?
And it could very well be among the worst contracts in fact, it already is one of the worst contracts in baseball. But Cano is still a reasonably productive hitter. He's not what he was with the Yankees, but
I have to ask this: we know that
ahead.
he was found to be taking steroids, and we do know that steroid players they go off the cliff.
They drop off quickly.
And
yes,
they
brother.
never come back, no matter how hard they try or want to. So that's the part that I want to know if is he running towards the cliff and he's ready to go off, or is he like 10 miles before the cliff before he goes off? That's my question.
That's one of those remains to be seen, which is another reason why I'm sure Seattle was very this is my problem, because you know that Seattle was desperate to trade Cano. So why is Brodie Van Wagenen including 2 of the Mets' top 4 prospects in this trade? That's my question. The Mets are dumping salary. They're getting rid of Jay Bruce. They're getting rid of Anthony Swarzak, and that's a good thing. I mean, Jay Bruce, I'm convinced, is going to have a bounce-back season, but to be able to unload his contract, that's fine. I still think the Mets should have demanded $40 million at minimum from the Mets. In fact, if I was Van Wagenen, I would have told him we need half the contract. We need $60 million.
Now, wasn't Van Wagenen?
He was Cano's agent.
Yeah, so
which it already disturbs me that he's going after his former players. I mean, obviously he knows them better than he's going to know other players, but that doesn't make them the right players. Just because he has an affiliation with them already, it doesn't mean that you have to trade for that guy. Now, there are some good things about this trade, and like I said, Diaz obviously giving the Mets a lights-out closer. This guy, he's got electric stuff. He is one of, if not the top young closer in baseball.
Right.
So yes, you're going to pay for that because again, he's got 3 years of controllability left. He's everything you want in a closer. Young, flamethrower, electric stuff, and controllable. But to get that, you need to take on Robinson Cano's contract. And granted, like I said, the Mariners are taking a couple of albatross contracts from the Mets, but they're nowhere near the Robinson Cano contract.
Right, because you got to keep Cano until he's 40. And I don't know if that's going to...
They're going to have to keep him because nobody else is going to take that contract.
No, not now. If the trade has been made, meaning I'm not talking about the players, I'm talking about the contract. Seattle's happy to get rid of him.
Oh, absolutely. Seattle's very happy. I mean, but that's why I'm saying, why did the Mets... The key guy in this trade for the Mariners is Jared Kelenic. And he was the guy who the Mets picked number 6 overall in the 2018 draft. He's 18 or 19 years old.
Right.
Already the scouts are raving about this kid's bat and talking about how he is somebody who can stay in center field in the future and he is going to be a star. And how many hitters have come through the Mets system in the last 5 to 10 years? Pretty much nobody.
Conforto was sort of.
Yes. He got hurt.
But he's had on and up and down.
He took a step back last year because of the shoulder injury.
Yep.
Mets fans, I know, are hoping that he's going to be the guy this year. I'm still not sold on Brandon Nimmo, and if I could get anything of value for him, I'd make that trade in a heartbeat. But he's another guy who you could say came through the system, but he's to me, he's not a star player. He's a good player, but he's not a star.
Right.
And then you talk about Ahmed Rosario, who I think has been a bit of a disappointment because he was a kid who was on a lot of top 10 prospect lists before the Mets called him up, and he's a guy who, to me, has kind of underachieved with the Mets. He's basically been like a 260 hitter. So this kid, Kelenic, from what everybody's saying, in about 3 or so years, I mean, like I said, he's only 18, 19 years old. Give him 3 or 4 years in the minor leagues, he was going to be what everybody wanted Conforto to be. Maybe with not as much power because he's a thin guy, but we'll see how he fills out and how much muscle he can add. But I think that part of the trade is the part that the Mets are going to regret. And why couldn't they have done this deal with Justin Dunn as the focal point where he's going anyway? Why did they have to also give up Kelenic? That's the part I don't get.
I agree, and it seemed like they would just give it an extra thing. Oh, here, take him. Meanwhile, he's a good player.
Oh, he's a great player.
Yeah,
like I said, number 6 overall in the draft.
He's the wrong guy to say, oh, take him. Yeah, that's what I think.
I don't think he was talking about him as a throw. I'm sure the Mariners said Kelenic is a guy that we want. I think Van Wagenen should have been telling him, look, we're taking Cano's contract, and especially when the Mariners, when it got to the point when they were negotiating dollars, and they said, well, we're going to kick in $20 million. If I'm Van Wagenen, I'm saying, wait a minute, it's only $20 million, then Kelenic's off the table. That's not going to happen.
I agree.
We'll give you our number 6 or 7 prospect or whoever that is. But no, we're not giving you Kelenic.
Then again, the $20 million would pay off more of the Mets' debt.
Well, but you got Robinson Cano, like I said, on the hook for $120 million over the next 5 years.
I know.
So now instead of paying him $24 million a year, you're paying him $20 million a year.
Right.
That's no bargain. That's still an expensive piece for an old player, a player who, like you said, because of the steroids, probably will age rapidly with the Mets.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who, last year he had 10 home runs and I think it was about 50 RBIs, but he only played about 80 games because he was suspended for 80 games because of the PED positive test. So can Cano give the Mets 20 and 100? I think that's asking a lot. And that, to me, those expectations are very much on the high side for a guy he's been a great hitter throughout his career, but again, 36 years old, coming off of an 80-game suspension for PEDs. I just think that the Mets could have done this deal without giving up quite as much as they did, or at the very least, maybe getting more money back to pay off Cano's contract.
Right.
It could have been a better deal.
I agree. It could have been a better deal. We give up Jay Bruce. We just heard from John out in Freeport. He's at work. He says, don't forget about Jay Bruce, too.
I mentioned Jay Bruce before. Bruce and Swarzak. Like I said, getting rid of Bruce.
Hello, John. But I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought he was on.
No. He's at work. He can't call.
Oh, sorry. Hey, that's good. Good you're listening, John.
Thank you.
I like it. But it's good that the Mets are getting rid of Jay Bruce's contract, but it's not an onerous contract.
No, it's not.
It's a spot that
$13 million a year or something.
Something like that. I thought it was 11 a year, but maybe it was 3 for 39. I don't look at it.
I thought it was 3 for 39.
All right, but so there's 13 million a year.
Yeah.
In this day and age, it's not onerous.
No.
But that being said, Jay Bruce very much underachieved last year.
Yeah, but
so from that standpoint, it's not a horrible decision to try to get rid of that. And Swarzak was a disaster. I mean, the only regret is that the Mets couldn't have put Jason Vargas in this deal as well, because then you would have gotten rid of some of the worst contracts on the books for the Mets.
Right.
But I wish that the deal could have been done without Jared Kelenic being part of it. And like I said, another minor leaguer, that's fine. And the Mets have a couple guys in the minor leagues. They have Alonso, who I'm not saying that they should have put him in there, and the other kid who I don't even remember the kid's first name. Their number one prospect. And this kid is the number one prospect is a shortstop, second baseman. So if you have Cano and you have Rosario, where's this kid going to play? That's the other thing. Like, why couldn't they have put that guy in there and kept the kid who's going to be the outfield prospect? That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Cano. When he left to go to the Mariners, the Yankees gave him basically a pretty good contract, and he just went for the more money thing.
Yeah, it was all about the offer.
But
that being said, the Mariners outbid the Yankees by like $60 million.
Right, and
it was an absurd offer.
And now you think you'd play off that if you're the Mets and say, well, give us a. It's like when A-Rod came to the Yankees from Texas. Mm-hmm. They got the Yankees got like $60-70 million.
It was
60.
Somewhere between, I think it was maybe 65, but yeah, it was a significant
so
amount of money. It was about a quarter of the
contract.
contract.
That was like, and Steinbrenner was still alive then.
Yep.
George Steinbrenner, we should say. And he was so happy. This is the first time he's getting money back. How many times did he have to pay off?
Considerable amount of money back from the Rangers to pay off, because the Rangers
weren't going anywhere.
They weren't going anywhere, and they realized that there was no way that they could go anywhere as long as they were paying A-Rod somewhere like in $25 million a year. And now you've got to remember, that's 10, 15 years ago.
Well, the thing that always got me afterwards is that A-Rod takes the option out, and the Yankees then give him more money than he was even
which
going
was
to get.
stupid.
Which
They bid against themselves. That was Hank Steinbrenner.
Well,
that was a Hank Steinbrenner production.
Yeah, they would
right
thought
there.
that he was going to get all those homers at Yankee Stadium, and then it never happened.
But they gave him the extension, and then within a year, it was A-Rod